So I wanted to kind of talk to you. One of my favorite quotes, not favorite quotes, but something that really, really spoke to me recently. And I don't know who said it because I only heard it. Like, have you ever listened to, you're just listening, you don't know what you're listening to, and YouTube's just going next, next, next. And I don't know who said it, but they said an egg will break. I'm missing for some reason. Okay. An egg will break if it has pressure from the outside, but it grows and lives when it has pressure from the inside. And so I want to think about, if you think about baby chicks, you think about chickens and they're hatching, they have to break the egg. They break the egg to get out. That's how they grow and get free. And that is something where if you were to smash the egg before the chick was ready to come out, you would break it. And that's a really great symbolism for the work we have to do on ourselves when it comes to committing to anything, whether it's work or life, or emotional, physical, health, fitness, when it comes to food, working out, nutrition, when it comes to growing and what we choose. If someone were to like pilot on us and decide for us, it wouldn't be fun, and it wouldn't be growing, and it would be a negative, and it doesn't promote positive growth. Whereas if you choose to break out of the egg, you choose that vision of yourself that you want to get stronger, you want to have more energy, you want to be more fit, you want to do a 5K or something different. Like, if you want something and you're breaking out of it, that's where the magic happens. That's where you learn more about yourself. That's where you can kind of get those extra little motivation nuggets that I always hear people asking me, like, how do you stay motivated? And it's like, you gotta want something more than the easy choice. Because the fact is, if there was a magic pill that we could take right now and we would have perfect metrics, our BMI, our blood, our cholesterol, our energy, our sleep, if everything would be perfect and we would never ever eat again, we would just take that pill every day, we wouldn't do it. Because in our culture, in our society, in our lives, food is so much more than what it's actually meant to do for our bodies, right? And this is where I am still rewatching To Be Mindset, and where I still have to learn and grow and work that muscle even 4 years in, and catch myself. And that's why so much of what I post in the group or what I talk about and on my own is a lot of times talking to me. And it's talking to, like, okay, what does Jen need to focus on? What you focus on, you feel. And so often things that come up that are out of our control tend to take a lot of focus, and that can be really heavy. And so when we're looking at what we can lovingly force ourselves to do, because if we think about a chick hatching out of an egg, that's a loving growth, right? That's a positive growth, breaking out of the egg and breaking free. And that's what we want to do for ourselves. I never want you to shame or beat or, put yourself down. If you put yourself down all the time and you're only focusing on what you're not doing or what you're missing or that you're being bad or that you're going to miss all those little stuff on the journey that is adding up to a positive, that you can't see that seed growing on a daily basis, but that seed is growing on a daily basis. And stretch it out a year, stretch it out 6 months, there will be a result if you keep watering it. I saw another quote on Instagram, and I said, wow, I've never heard that. They said, the grass isn't greener on the other side. It just looks greener because you're not watering yours. And that was like an aha moment for me. It's like, okay, so what am I focusing on? What am I feeding? And what am I growing? And how it really is something that has to come from the inside. I cannot text you every day and tell you to stay away from the chips. I can't text you every day and tell you to work out. I can give you the opportunity to jump on Zoom with us and work out with us at 7 a.m. Or I can encourage you to set an alarm for yourself and look at your schedule. I can look at your food tracker and talk to you and break down. I think it was exciting. Sherry and I jumped on a call. We went through her tracker for about 2 weeks, and it was 3 days later, you were already down another pound or two, because we just found some little things that we could tweak by having that data. And that's where if you're wanting to do it from the inside and finding that way, it will work. You will never lose weight if you say, I can't lose weight, because that reticulating factor in your brain is going to keep trying to find why you can't lose weight. And it's going to take your focus onto those things. And I think it's great. Like, I love, that you shared going to the pool and having struggles with, I just find myself eating at the snack stand. I go into a kid and I was like, I think that's so relatable. Like, oh my gosh, you took me right back to my childhood at my grandma's and going to the snack stand and getting the French fries taste better there, even though they're like the same cheap frozen brand, brand. It's not anything special. The ketchup sitting outside in the warm sun for hours, right? It's like, why is it even good? But it is. And then you get the icy pop, or everything just tastes better because it's about the experience and it's about what's going on. But that's powerful to know that, because now you can set yourself up for, okay, so what can I do? Can I maybe get a spot on the grass or in this that's away from the stand where I won't see it as much? Can I eat a full meal and sneak some snacks along in that will fill me up, so that if I have the fries or I have the icy, that I can share it with a couple people instead of eating the whole one? And no, you're not, if you're looking to have a big goal of, I know for myself, when I started, I was trying to lose 100 pounds. I'm not going to lose 100 pounds in 3 months by eating 1/4 of the French fries. However, over a year, I would say that's a significant pound loss, or at least stopping from gaining weight, right? If we cut back what we're doing, so it depends on what you really want and what that inside craving is. And can you get yourself to focus on that, to start taking those small actions? And so I'm going to keep it like chicks and babies and like go back. I'm going to talk a little bit about kids. And maybe, I don't know, Taisha, you might have something to share similar just from the pre-K idea. But if we think about kids, and have you ever seen a little girl or a little boy that could dress themselves? And they are like in the dead of winter and they're wearing like a summer dress, or it's not raining and they've got the galoshes and the long sleeves and just like all that silly fun stuff. And you're like, oh, you dressed yourself, didn't you? 9 times out of 10, mom or dad has got extra clothing that makes sense for the season or makes sense for the event they're at in their purse or their car, right? But they let the kid make the decisions. And it's really actually a lesson in teaching kids to make simple decisions. And that's kind of what we got to do for ourselves. We have to work up to making the decisions. We have to work up to it, which is where watching the To Be Mindset videos more than once and kind of leaning in and giving yourself the opportunity to make that. And then when you go to the pool and you have only the fries instead of the fries, soda, and ice cream, you celebrate that. I mean, you're like, Jen, you want to celebrate because I had fries? Well, you made it and you enjoyed the pool not having as much as you did before. And then when you start to feel more confident and more celebrating, and then maybe next time you're like, you know what, I'll get the ice cream next week. And before you know it, you've made enough choices that now you can enjoy, splashing in the pool or reading the book in the chair, or enjoy some of the other things, and knowing and tracking and taking care of what is the circumstance that I can't control, and then what can I control in that circumstance. So we're looking at, your boss comes to you and says, we're laying you off. You can't really say to your boss, how about no, I'm going to keep my job and you're going to keep paying me. That's not something you can control, right? Like you can't, maybe you have good negotiating skills and they'll like say, okay, you're right, I was wrong. But if you lose your job and someone's coming to you and taking your job, you can't control that, right? We can't control an accident. We can't control someone having a major health scare necessary. Like there's things in your life that happen that you can't control. What could you control in that situation? Okay, I don't know anybody who's been in a place that they wanted to get fired. It sucks. However, maybe you can say, well, you know what, I'm going to take 2 weeks. This was my warning sign to slow down. I need to slow down, regroup, see what I want. This is my opportunity to kind of see what's out there and what can I do. Maybe I can go back to school. Maybe I can reach out to old colleagues. Maybe I can think about where I worked before and reach out. Maybe I can go in a whole new different direction, and take the time to make a list of everything you didn't like about that job. because things that you don't like about something are a really good indicator of, okay, what do I do like? Because I think sometimes it's hard to make a list of what I like, but I can give you a list of what I don't. I can tell you what I don't like. And so, you can take control of the situation in how you respond. Does it mean don't cry or don't get angry or don't feel hurt? Those things are going to happen, and feel it, but how long do you want to feel it? And what can you do to get to that next possibility to control where you go? And then kind of also knowing yourself. I am working on boundaries. Boundaries are something that I have been, as long as I can remember, I've said yes to absolutely everything that I possibly can. I so often will get a phone call or something happen, and it happens before my day starts, and I don't finish the stuff for Jennifer. I jump right to the next, and I react all day. I see a hole, I see a gap, and I want to fill it, and I want to contribute to my own detriment. I'm someone who, I've put my bank account negative and maxed out credit cards helping someone else get groceries. I've done that more than once. Knowing that about myself, it's a challenge to set those boundaries right away from the gate. But I can do little things to help myself, to keep me away from those circumstances a little longer. When things started getting really full about a month and a half, 2 months ago, I had to step back from a lot of stuff I was participating in. I had to leave some groups I was a part of because I was in meetings twice a day, every day, as well as being in my job all day and doing this coaching part, which is something that brings me joy and health and fills my cup. And I knew if I kept showing up at all the places, I was going to keep saying yes to more stuff. And I didn't have any more space without taking Jen to a detriment and my family to a detriment. And then guess what happened? Some things that I couldn't control with my family that required my time. And then, oh my goodness, now it's easier to say, I can't do that right now, right? But we shouldn't let being sick be why we can get out of work. And we shouldn't, that word should bothers me, but I don't know how else to express it. Like, that's a warning sign if you're only allowed a day off when you're sick. If you only let yourself relax on the couch and have a fun movie day with the family, if you're sick, you're telling your subconscious, you got to get sick for me to let you heal and recover and recoil and recharge. So guess what? Yourself gets sick. And then that's when you get to recharge. And another way that I've been able to put those boundaries on myself is at 9 o'clock, my phone goes on silent. So unless my phone is open, I don't even get a call or a text that you need me. Like, it's after 9. Everybody should be with their families. Yes, emergencies happen, but if an emergency happens, what can I really do at 11 p.m.? I'm not a medical professional. I can't, rebuild a house if I can't go put a fire out. Like, I can be there to listen. But if I don't have my phone open, it waits until tomorrow. And that's a way to help me set a boundary. That's something that I do because I know I will stay on the phone till 2 a.m, even if I work the next day, if I don't set that boundary. So you can use things like that to help yourself with the boundary. I do the same thing in the morning. My phone doesn't turn on until 7:30. And that's so that I at least am hitting play before anybody can call me. And if I'm already working out, I'm not going to answer the work call. so I get on the 7 a.m. Zoom and I push play, and I'm starting to work out before that happens. So in thinking about learning how to put ourselves first, and this is something like I am working on this, and I've been listening to things and kind of working on this because I've had a hard time making decisions for myself. I had to make a really hard call today and pull out of something that I really wanted to go to. I just know it would be to my detriment, and I'm not at capacity right now to put that extra out. And it was hard. And I think that these little practices, if I would have started them earlier, like if I could go back in time and start making choices sooner, that it would have really built up and helped me. And so that's one thing, like I always try to share what I'm working on and what's helping me. So I'm going to say, like, I have, as recently as the last 3 days, I've had a lot of tears trying to make a decision, because I was trying to make a decision that would have everybody be happy and me be okay. And it didn't work. There was no way for me to meet every obligation that's happening the next week and be okay for myself. And so I had to make a hard phone call, and I had to do something that it wasn't necessarily my first choice, but I knew it was what I needed to do when I actually sat down and wrote down what is going to be best for me. Where am I going to grow? And sometimes those hard conversations and making that call that you are avoiding, and that conversation that you don't want to have, like, that's where the growth comes. Like, that's where the opportunity, that's where I say, like, is this my limit or is this where I grow? And like those hard conversations, that's where we grow. And I still have some more hard conversations coming up, but I'm excited because I get to know me. And have you ever tried to make a decision and you're like, I just don't even know what I want at this point. I have so many other opinions and ideas that I don't even know what I want. And that's another, like, a warning sign that we need to focus on micro boundaries and setting yourself up. So I'd love to hear if anybody has any other tips or has any other ideas off of this. If you happen to know the quote, I should Google it too, to know who did that quote about an egg will die if it has pressure from the outside, and it thrives and is life if it has pressure from the inside. Because I really like that quote. But does anybody have any tips or encouragement or questions, or want to, like, kind of try to set a mini boundary or uncover a mini focus for themselves out of this? Okay. Well, I'd love to continue the conversation on in our group. If you haven't seen or you haven't been checking in, I am having fun with the Olympics. You get to set your own metrics. And so that way you get to tell yourself and get to celebrate those things that you do. And what it comes down to is life gives us two choices. Either it happens to us or we decide. And I think it feels so much better not waiting for external life to decide where we go next, right? Instead of waiting for someone else to tell us what to do next, decide, how do I want to feel? How do I want to do? What do I want to accomplish this next week? Sometimes it's just, what do I want to accomplish the next day? How do I want to feel at the end of today? In the on-demand library, there's the meditation section. I really, really enjoy the weight loss for hypnosis for weight loss. There's I think it's 16 minutes long, and she really does a great visualization of how do you want to feel and how do you want to look, and it just talks about being in your ideal body. And I just love putting that on at the beginning of the day, because she talks about this person that you want to be. How does she walk through the kitchen? How does she choose her food? What energy does she have with her kids? And I kind of think about and reflect, like, when I eat well and when I move my body, how do I interact with others? I go and I, like, rub up on my husband, and I, go play with Joseph extra, and I feel more confident and I feel better. And that's who I want to be. I'm not a machine, so I'm not going to be at that, like, perfect level every single day. It's why even in maintenance, your scale doesn't stay the same forever. There's fluctuations for lots of different reasons. But either you get to choose life for yourself, or life will choose it for you. And then I think the lesson in the growth in choosing for yourself and encouraging yourself to do it instead of someone else saying you got to do this, right? It just feels that much better to me. And so I would want to encourage you to look at where in your life can you be a better advocate for yourself. Where is it that you're letting life decide for you? You know, the free food at work, is that deciding for me how I'm going to feel or what's going to happen in my health journey? Or am I choosing? Like, I still pack my lunch every day, even though they buy food in the office on Wednesdays. I still bring my own food. I have some of what they bring. I add it to my veggies, and I still have some if I want it. But I found that I have to prepare for myself, because if I don't have that and I don't stay on track and I just let them decide, I'm going to be back where I was, which when I started at my company, I gained 70 pounds from 2015 to 2016. And it's just because I let whatever happened to be there be what I did. And it snuck up fast. It can really add up. You don't see it happening on a daily basis. And that's just like these choices that we think may be small, where we're choosing to take veggies and skip something, you know, at the picnic or at the party. And think about if you had a really great day, like someone was sharing how they had such a great day at the picnics and they made great choices and they felt really good. Think about why. What was happening? What was the circumstance? What was the mindset? Why did that day work? And then reproduce it on the day that it's not working. And just like if you gained a pound or you had something happen because you enjoyed extra beers or extra stuff in life, you just get right back to it. It'll come off as fast as it goes on and you just come right back to it. And that's where I love that you own the videos for life. So make sure that you like have them to rewatch when you need them. I'm always open to reviewing the tracker. Like I said, when I need at least 2 weeks so that we can kind of have an idea. 30 days is the best because then we can see your whole body cycle. But when I look through the tracker with you and we set up and we go through some things, I've always had someone lose 1 to 3 pounds within 3 days of that call, just making at least one little change. And then we just keep making one little change. So I don't have anything else other than to encourage you. The free food. Sorry. Yeah, free food is not good food. I had to tell myself that. Taisha, you've heard me say this, right? Because I struggle with free food being good food. Like, free food is not healthy food. Free food is like, it's a mindset thing. Like, I'm a clean plate person. Did you grow up like you got to clean your plate? Like you got to clean the plate. You got to get the donuts out of the house. I have eaten a whole container of Oreos in one night to get them out of the house because you got to get it out of the house. I've done that in the last 6 years. I've done that. And that clean plate, that's a mindset. So the good thing is, it's something that you can change. It does take work. And so it does take some grace for yourself, but that release the guilt, because in my experience, nothing good grows from guilt. It just keeps you stuck in the muck. And being able to release it and say, donuts happen sometimes. Like, cake happens sometimes. Cupcakes happen sometimes. Those things happen. You know, I love how Alana says it. It's just silly. But, you know, even if we have fun being silly, we don't be silly all the time. We're not silly all the time. We're silly sometimes. And so let's just see, like, why did I have it? Now I know. And now for me, I say free food doesn't mean good food. That's like, I remind myself that free food doesn't mean good food. You know, how do I want to feel? And try to remind myself. And again, we're not robots. We're not robots. So every day is going to be a different thing. But what can you control knowing that? That's something where I've shared a couple times that I know that I am a physical touch person. So if I haven't had a hug or I haven't had enough physical contact, I will eat food because it's touching me. And so knowing that, when I start to feel that drain, I go grab my son. I tell my husband I'm going to put my hand on his leg. You know, I stand really close to you. And so I find ways to work through that. But I didn't uncover that at first. And it's not every time is perfect. Sometimes I still catch myself. But this is a journey. And that's where we got to celebrate what we do. And the fact that you recognize that is huge. It's a big thing. So I don't have anything else other than to encourage you and thank you for being here and sharing. Nicole, did you want to share something?
Well, you shared a couple things. One is that when the free food is there, that you are just taking a little bit of it and you're mixing it in. And I think that And then somebody also shared the French toast thing and the fact that it was free. It's like, yeah, I could sit there and I could eat it all. Or I love that it was cut in half and they only had a small amount. And sometimes I know I personally find that sometimes all I need is a bite to satisfy whatever that craving is, and then I'm done. And it's like if I deny myself, I think about it and then I want to have more. But as long as I have that one bite, I'm like, okay, I have that bite of cake or whatever the yummy was, and then I can let it go and move on and enjoy whatever else is an option. And so I think that really is a big win when you are able to, when you have that free food and you want to partake and be a part of the socialness that comes along with that. Um, but you're also able to say, I'm going to limit myself, I'm going to enjoy it and go from there. So I like the way that you kind of mixed it in and wanted to bring that up. Sorry.
Thank you. No, I love that. And I think that's part for tracking that helps me is we want to make sure we track those things too. Because I think sometimes when we're learning and working that muscle to eat more veggies and drink more water, it feels hard because it does feel hard to change, right? It feels hard to change things. And so we remember the hard, but we forget that easy cake we had or that 2 cookies. Like, and so if we don't track those things, we don't know. So then we can look through a week of tracker and say, oh my gosh, I lost a pound and I had pizza and cake. I forgot I ate that. Like I have looked at my tracker and said, I forgot I ate that. Oh my gosh, I didn't even remember eating that. And then I think too, if we want it and we're depriving it from ourselves, we can get into a position where we're obsessing on it. And then that turns into a binge. If you've been a binge eater like me, where I'm someone that like I said, that I would buy 2 packs of Oreos, the family size, like big packs, and I would eat the whole thing in one night in one sitting. So I, having had that mentality and being in that place, obsessing about something and not giving it to yourself gives you that, well, you can't tell me what to do. And that scarcity mindset comes in and you think like, I'm going to eat it all. And that's where I love both To Be Mindset and Portion Fix let you have those things. You can swap your containers 3 times a week for Portion Fix. To Be Mindset, you just track whenever you want it. Something that I've wanted for months, I don't even know why, was a Friendly's Reese's Peanut Butter Cup sundae. I almost door dashed it like twice. Like I was that close. Like, and then last night, well, like 2 weeks ago, my mom said, we're going to come to Joey's swimming and then we'll go get ice cream at Friendly's like we used to for Sean. And I'm like, okay, well, that's going to be my Friendly's. I'm going to get the thing. But I ate normal yesterday. I ate all my breakfast. I ate all my fiber-filled carbs. I ate healthy, normal. I ate the whole day, drank all my water, got my shake, had my fruit, had my brown rice. I had my garbanzo beans. I had normal food. And at Friendly's, I finally had my peanut butter Reese's Cup sundae. They even brought extra peanut butter sauce, which I was like, wow, this was amazing. I enjoyed it. The scale went up 0.01. And I didn't feel deprived, and I enjoyed a whole day of food. So that's the other thing, is we want to make sure that we're still eating. We're not swapping. Like we don't want to swap chips for a yellow or chips for a fiber-filled carb. If we have chips, track it and see what happens, but make sure your brain, your body needs those fiber-filled carbs, especially if you're working out, especially if you're thinking and things like that. So you don't want to swap too much. You want to still get your stuff. And I think sometimes if you eat your fiber-filled carbs and you eat your fruits and your proteins and get all your veggies in, you won't be as hungry or have as much room for the popcorns or the chips and things. So sometimes that alone will help you with those freebies or those fun things. And then just enjoy life. Like this is life. Like I don't want anybody going around like getting upset or angry at their tracker. Like let's look at your tracker, let's figure it out, and what you want, we'll do it, but and that I will keep talking because this sets my heart on fire. So I will keep sharing. So unless somebody else had a question or something, I say we wrap it up. And I am working on something for next weekend. I would love to do an in-person something. It's our annual Beachbody Summit. It's all virtual, but I would love to like meet up at the rail trail, maybe throw axes, maybe I don't know. I'm open to suggestions. It's very last minute planning. Maybe we can get together and make something. Maybe I know someone who can I hire to make to come up with a craft. Maybe we could do, but I'd love to like get some pictures, get some in-person time. I'm winking at Nicole. But I'd love some suggestions if anybody, you know, I'm thinking like the rail trail, or I would even maybe rent, I know in Catasauqua we have a yoga place not too far from me that I could rent out. She had told me I could rent out some time to have some space, but I'd love to do something in person next weekend to kind of celebrate a mock like virtual summit. So it's very last minute planning, because I just changed my plans today. I will not be in California next week. So I'm going to put that out there. So either post in the group or message me or think about if you have an idea, or be on the lookout, because I want to do something. So if put that in the back there. Maybe go for maybe Dorney. No, I haven't been at Dorney in years. 9 years, 10 years.
You go to the lake. Go paddleboard.
Naka-Mixon.
Go rent a paddleboard. Go to the lake.
I've never paddleboard. I've always wanted to paddleboard. Or I do have these.
Or kayak or something. Go to the lake.
In Bethlehem by Steel Stacks Run, I have a gift certificate to do I wonder if they're doing the runs yet. The lake runs, not the river runs, the kayaking, tubing or something.
Hey, that's always fun, especially if it's hot. You just sit on a tube. We're still recording. Delaware and the Derriere and the Delaware.